In 1963, a Turkish farmer was demolishing a wall in his home. Behind the wall was a room. Behind the room, a tunnel. Behind the tunnel, another, and another, and another. He dug 18 floors down, 18 floors underground, an entire city, with streets, storerooms, wine cellars, churches, stables, ventilation shafts, and water wells. It could hold 20,000 people. This was Derinkuyu, one of the largest underground cities in the history of humanity. But that is not the strangest part. When scholars began to investigate Cappadocia, they discovered it was not alone. There are more than 200 of them. 200 underground cities. Different sizes, different depths, different ages. Connected by tunnels. Hidden beneath hills, beneath villages, beneath vineyards. An entire underground civilization that almost no one knows about. These are its streets. Only here the streets are underground. Cappadocia is a region in the very center of Anatolia in modern Turkey. Millions of years ago, several powerful volcanic eruptions occurred here. Lava and ash covered the plateau with a thick layer of soft rock, tuff. Then wind and water spent thousands of years carving this tuff into fantastic shapes. Mushroom rocks, conical towers, the Cappadocian fairy chimneys. But this tuff had a property that changed the entire history of the region. It was very soft. With an iron tool, you could carve a room in it in a few hours. But then, exposed to air, the tuff hardened and became as strong as stone. First people carved simple dwellings, cave homes, then storerooms, then churches, then entire villages hidden in the cliffs. And then they went underground. The first underground settlements appeared in the Hittite period, around 1400 to 1200 BC. But the true flourishing came in the early Christian period, reaching its peak between the 4th and 10th centuries, when Arab raids turned Anatolia into a zone of constant danger. That is when small shelters became real cities. Imagine descending into Derinkuyu. The entrance, concealed. Perhaps beneath the floor of a home, perhaps in the cliff behind a vineyard. You would not find it without knowing where to look. The first tunnels are narrow, one person wide, deliberately. Attacking forces cannot advance in formation, only one at a time, eliminating numerical advantage. The first circular stone door. A disc of volcanic stone, 2 meters across, half a meter thick. On the inner side, a handle and a spear hole. On the outer side, nothing. Closed from inside, impenetrable. First floor, stables. Second, living quarters. Stone sleeping benches, lamp niches, constant 13 degrees. Third and fourth, storage with months of food. Deeper, churches. On the 7th floor, a cross-shaped church with surprisingly good acoustics. At the lowest level, wells. Underground aquifers supplied water regardless of the surface situation. And through the entire system, ventilation shafts. 50 meters of vertical tunnel. Air circulated. Candles stayed lit. People breathed. This was a fully functioning city, simply underground. The greatest secret of Cappadocia is the question everyone asks. How did they build this? Thousands of tons of tuff were extracted from underground and brought to the surface. Building Derinkuyu alone would have required several thousand people and several decades, under constant threat from above. No construction records, no tools in the shafts, no builders' names. The second secret, ventilation. It worked. In a system of more than 50 ventilation shafts, air circulated so effectively that burning candles on the lowest floor did not go out. How exactly this system was designed, still an engineering mystery. The third secret, the scale of the network. Derinkuyu is connected by a 9-kilometer tunnel to Kaymakli. Total tunnel length in the region may reach hundreds of kilometers, most unexplored. Tourists see 8 floors out of 18. The fourth secret: who and when. Officially, early Christian communities of the 2nd to 3rd centuries expanded in the 4th to 10th. But some researchers point to much older layers, possibly Hittite, Phrygian, or older still. The true history of Derinkuyu may be much longer than we think, and perhaps we haven't found all its flaws. The Cappadocian underground cities were not destroyed, they were simply abandoned. Gradually, as the threats diminished. After the Seljuk Turks conquered Anatolia in the 11th century, raids ceased. The necessity of hiding underground disappeared. Surface villages continued their life. Cave churches continued in use. The vineyards produced their harvest. And the underground cities, they were simply closed, entrances blocked, left as a backup option, and forgotten for several hundred years. In some villages, local residents used the upper floors as food cellars, exactly as the Hittites had used them 3,000 years earlier. The Greek Christians of Cappadocia lived here until 1923, until the Greek-Turkish population exchange. They left and took with them the last living memories of many of the underground cities. And then, a farmer and a wall. 1963, Derinkuyu. Today, new underground complexes continue to be found. In 2013, during construction in Nevşehir, what may be the largest underground city in the region was discovered, 4 square kilometers in area. Excavations are still ongoing. Today, Cappadocia is one of the most popular tourist regions in the world. Hot air balloons above the fairy chimneys, hotels in caves, underground tours of Derinkuyu. 1 million tourists a year see 8 floors out of 18. The remaining 10 wait. And this is just one of 200 known underground complexes, plus the unknown. How many? No one knows. But the legacy of this place is not only mysteries. The people who built these cities were solving a fundamental problem: how to survive in a world where you are weaker than your enemies. Not to defeat them, not to flee, but to hide. So cleverly, so deeply, so long, that the enemy simply tires and leaves. This is a different kind of endurance. Not heroic, patient. The Cappadocians did not build armies. They went underground and lived there for months if needed, with children, animals, food, water, and churches. They waited and survived. 3,000 years of continuous presence. Hittites, Phrygians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Christians, Muslims, all using the same tunnels. And beneath this earth, there are still rooms no human foot has entered for several centuries, waiting